Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Brownsville Matters. I'm your host, Dr. W.F. Strong, and I'm honored today to have Martha Gonzalez in the studio, in the house, as we say sometimes. And she is the executive director and founder of Big Heroes, Inc. And we're going to learn all about that today and how you can help.
Fantastic.
Big stands for, Big Heroes, Inc. The big stands for what?
Believe in God's heroes.
Belief in God's heroes.
And heroes also has an acronym as well.
Okay.
It's helping everyone reach outstanding educational success.
I love it. That's great.
Thank you.
And your community that you're helping is the disabled community?
Correct.
Or differently abled? How do we say that now?
Well, I know I've always had a little controversy going on in my mind with the whole word itself, disabilities, because it means without ability. And so I like to say that we help young adults with special needs.
Okay. I kind of like to, and I know that you take your pick, you know. I like differently abled.
Correct.
Because I had still have a relative who is of this community, and by being with her, I discovered that she was indeed differently abled. I realized that she could do things better than I could do in certain areas.
In a different way.
In a different way.
That's right.
And I mean, like, for instance, I just give you for instance, like people assumed who lived with her, they assumed that she couldn't do certain things, so they never bothered to teach her certain things. And I taught her to play solitaire. And then I taught her to play solitaire on a computer. And her mother was astounded. She said, I didn't think she could do that. And then she learned spider solitaire, which is a little more complicated, and she was very good at it.
Awesome.
And so, and she loved it. You know, so I began to see a lot of these barriers are imposed with a good heart, you might say, by those around them, not realizing what their true potential might be. And
well, bless your heart.
And this skill might be carried over, you know, into other things.
Right.
So how did you're the founder of this organization, and your mission is to help the differently abled to continue learning as adults.
Correct.
And to strengthen their skills in a variety of ways, such as?
Well, and just to kind of back up a little bit, yes, I did discover that when these young adults were graduating from high school, they didn't have continuity. Most young adults that are graduating are hoping to go on to college so that they can ultimately get certified to get all these wonderful jobs that are out there. So we, in essence, began with the idea of just providing continued life skills instruction and job skills training. We have since added other components to the program, but just in itself, by believing in them and providing this job skills instruction has allowed them the potential to be able to become employable.
And there are a lot of large corporations that are very supportive of this, right? That they hire the disabled,
right? And
they hire, like I know, HEB.
Right.
Is really big in programs like this.
Yeah, they have what they call a bridge program. So we do have 2 of our student members employed at HEB. So
that's
we're
great.
very happy for that.
Great.
Yeah, we currently have 3 organizations that have opened their doors to our student members. HEB is one of them. ORC Industries is the second. They hold about 16 or 17 of our student members working there now. And the third...
What do they do there?
They, the industry itself, they take government contracts to make gear for the military. So our students are working with the ties and the zippers, and I think some of them are doing snaps and buttons on some of the gear that special forces may wear. And the tents, they're doing the ties for the zippers for the tents that the military use.
Excellent.
Yeah. And the third is Chick-fil-A. And so we have a student that was with us for a very short time, and he was a go-getter, and he ended up being employed by Chick-fil-A.
Wonderful. What do the students say about it themselves, you know, that when you place them to work?
Oh, goodness.
How do they respond?
they are loving it. They
sure.
get to fulfill their purpose in the community. And I think that the most exciting time for them is not necessarily the first day of work, but the day of payday. So it's a joy to see that they have all this chatter about work and the responsibilities, and somebody didn't do their job, and they're trying to help them, and it's so beautiful to see that they help each other along the way. And so the group that's out at ORC Industries, you can see you need to be at work on time, or don't forget we have something going on and you can't be late. You have to be there on time. And, we're getting, we're going to have a celebration because something is coming up at work. So I just love it. I love to see that they too have that going on in their lives, because I was there. I worked for the district for 16 years. And it's the camaraderie that you share with others in the community. So
you work for the district?
I did. I taught for 16 years with the Brownsville Independent School District. And it was there that I met a program called Triple T, which means Training to Transition.
Right.
And as a department chair, I supervised the program for 2 years, and I just fell in love. And it was then that I learned that after they graduate, nothing else is going on. So a lot of these individuals,
when they graduate, they kind of hit a brick wall.
They do. They go home to
and
sit there and
depressed.
do nothing, and they do. They become depressed, or they get placed at a nursing home. Not a nursing home, an adult daycare.
Adult daycare.
Yeah, and I don't discredit what they do at the adult daycares, but I think there's so much more that can go on for an 18-year-old.
Sure. And do you think the greatest good for them is that they feel in the socialization of work that they feel a self-worth?
Oh, yeah.
And then
self-worth is just,
it just skyrockets.
It does.
And then also the fact that they get a check.
Right.
They make their money.
Yeah. Human connection is just so great, and we're all interconnected in some way, shape, or form, and the joy of one becomes a joy for all.
Well, everybody says that, really. I mean, across the board. If people are working, they feel better about themselves generally.
Exactly.
Even people who retire, sometimes they're lost because they had this job for 40 years, and now they don't feel like they have a purpose. And they often get depressed.
Right.
So it's true for all of us, and then to be part of a functioning, vibrant society is great for your health.
Oh, for
Physical and mental, right?
And that's why we open our doors to anybody that chooses to retire, because some of our teachers there at Big Heroes are retired teachers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And
so,
these are volunteers?
Actually, they've made the payroll, so they're paid staff, and it's not a whole lot, but it's something. It just keeps them, going, and they're sharing their expertise and professionalism with our young members, and it's great. It's a win-win.
But you no longer work at BIST. You are
I don't.
Completely full-time with Big Heroes.
I left BIST not because of retirement, but because I resigned to start the organization.
To do this.
I had...
That's a big leap of faith there.
It is a leap of faith. And because of that, we are also faith-based at Big Heroes. But I did volunteer for the organization for 4 years before I was considered, paid staff as well. And it's not high pay, and I don't expect it either. It's enough to just help me going because I have responsibilities and bills I have to pay as well.
Since you are faith-based, do you get support from the churches in the community?
We don't. We did get at one time a donation from one of the churches, but faith-based for us is just acknowledging that God is behind all of this.
All right.
We have seen, my big little secret is always give your testimony and give thanks to God, and He will bless you, and He has. We were blessed with a low rent when we were here on Boca Chica. I don't know if you ever knew about our location. It used to be the Batzel House, right next door to the HEB. And then the Jane Huerta family, they blessed us with a big church building over on Dockberry. And so we don't have a mortgage or rent to pay.
So they gave you
they gave us
a building.
The building.
Oh, That's wonderful.
Yeah, so my heart goes out to the Huerta family. Pastor Jane Huerta lost her battle to cancer, and she was also an educator. And this was her dream, too, to have education and religion together. And, we don't push our faith on anybody, but we do have God's chair present, and we're following the model out of the Brookwood community that's out in Brookshire, Texas.
How old is that organization?
Oh, goodness. I want to say we had a conference there. I want to say almost 40 years.
Oh, 40 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Yeah.
So they got a way head start ahead of us. But,
they're kind of mentoring you.
They're mentoring us, yes. And so we go out there for their conferences and, just follow the model that they're using.
And you have 33. Do you call them students? Or clients, or how do you refer to them?
See, out in Houston, they call them citizens. And over here, citizen means something different, because we're so close to the border.
Yeah.
So we do call them student members or just members of Big Heroes. And we're growing. I get calls just every week for tours. There are many tours compared to the big tour that they have up there. But the families are needing the help, and they look for respite. And
do you have to? Can you take everyone who comes, or do you have to turn some away?
We have to turn some away and maybe put them on a wait list. And the reason for that is we do lack nursing staff, maybe counselors that can help those that need the extra assistance.
What kinds of skills are you teaching?
We teach continued life skills instruction. So wherever the districts leave off, we pick up on. And so we do have a kitchen. We have a laundromat. We have other areas that help the students continue with working on the motor skills, fine motor skills and stuff like that.
So you teach them to cook?
We do. It is minimal. We don't want anybody to go home and practice making enchiladas, on their own, Yeah. But we do teach them the basic skills in the kitchen, how to make their way around and work their way in case the parents who are becoming elderly need the assistance in making a small meal or something to that effect.
Well, like, for instance, you teach them to make eggs, or you teach them to make oatmeal? What do you teach?
We have made, we've made pancakes, we've made grilled cheese sandwiches, we've made spaghetti.
Oh, that's good. These are universally wonderful foods.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But a healthy way of making it. Instead of using, the full butter, we might substitute it with applesauce or, something along that line. And we've also made sweet potato fries instead of the heavy starchy ones. And so those are the kinds of meals that we've been making in the kitchen,
And then in the laundry, you're just teaching them how to separate colors and whites.
Right. And so instead of using paper towels, to dry our hands, we're using the little washcloths. And so it's a perfect example of, the way that we can save a little bit of money and just, wash those instead. And it's a skill in itself.
Sure.
And then we fold them a certain way. So we fold them in half and then we roll them into a little ball, so to speak. And that's helping with future, a future job in silverware.
Sure.
Maybe at a Denny's or another, restaurant. And I shouldn't be giving free advertising here, unless you're going to hire one of our students. But that's the idea. We're trying to think outside the box so that we can make this fit. Instead of fitting a round peg in a round
peg in a square hole.
We're creating that square peg because we need to make it work. We need to think outside of that box, and we've been successful so far.
Well, tell me one of your success stories of one student.
An example of one student member, and I have one that's rising to the top. He actually has 2 jobs. And so the parents of these individuals, and they're actually twins, but one comes to mind. And he has so much faith. He has 2 jobs now. And so through his employment, and they do not work every day of the week. They work maybe 2 to 3 days because that's what these businesses have afforded them. And there are limitations as to how much they can award them with hours and a paycheck. But anyway, with this particular student, Is it okay to say his name? I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I have the permission from
Yeah.
the parent. His name is Oscar. We'll use his name, Oscar. Oscar saved enough money to buy himself a little vehicle. Oscar has a driver's license as well.
That's awesome.
And Oscar's prayers were for a building. When I wasn't even thinking about praying for a building, he says, I think we need to start praying for a bigger building because our little building was a little crowded. And it was crowded at a time where we were supposed to be social distancing. And it happened. It happened through great faith. And Oscar's prayers then were about transportation. And we were granted through the Moody Foundation out in Galveston 2 vans. And so just all of these great blessings have come through prayer. And, you know, I have become a student of these wonderful individuals, and I'm learning.
Sounds like he should be the
he should be
director.
the executive director. And he's proudly wearing one of his shirts today because we're going to be setting up a Christmas tree out at the airport today.
Oh.
It's a competition for nonprofits, and we were invited to go set up a tree today, and he's going to be out there today. So, wonderful individual.
How big is your tree? I mean, it's big heroes. It's got to be a big tree.
Well, we have a 9-footer. We wish we had a 12-footer for anybody out there awarding trees. Our theme is shining big, and so our students are going to be on stars on the tree.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so a little secret there.
How many will be participating in putting up the tree?
The decor, decorating the tree, only 5 today. Yeah, only 5 today. And some are at work, and that's why we only were able to bring in 5. Some ride the bus, and so the B Metro. And it's neat to see them riding the B Metro. That's a step towards independence right there.
What do their parents tell you?
The parents are happy.
Yeah, I'm sure they're happy, but I mean, what do they say about that you have brought new life to their child, or what sorts of feedback do you get that way?
They pray for me. They pray that nothing happens so that the mission and vision can continue. I hope one day, and I think that because I voiced this, the parents are, cheering us on and cheering me on, that we could one day even bring in group homes. They worry about tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so, and I get it. Some families are only, it's just the parents and the child. So there are no siblings to look out for the individual. And
so if something happens to the parents, there's no place for them to go.
Right.
No one to care for them.
Right.
Yeah. That's a sobering thought.
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to do what I can, and I talk till I'm blue in the face, but sometimes words aren't enough. So I invite people to the center. I want you and everyone else that's listening to come and visit, and I want you to notice the great impact that Big Heroes has had on their lives. And it doesn't stop at the center. It goes beyond that. And I don't know what else to do other than to keep talking.
That's all you can do sometimes. Yeah. You just keep
and knocking on doors.
And have Oscar pray.
We'll have Oscar pray. That's right. Thank you for putting that back in my mind. Yeah. And I'm going to start with the good Lord. He's the one with the deepest pockets, and I don't want to ever forget to mention that. Sometimes I'll leave an interview and I'll bash myself for forgetting, but a lot of our logos, not this one today, it was supposed to be gold. It's a dark color with the neon. So we are coming out and we are being noticed by the community. I don't know how else to say this, but I thank those supporters, even Moody, as far as they are in Galveston, for acknowledging and recognizing the fact that we needed help.
Well, you talk about deep pockets, the Moody Foundation, Meadows Foundation, Houston Endowment. These are the sorts of foundations you need entry to. So sometimes the things that people can do for you, the greatest gift they can give you is an introduction to the right person.
Right.
Not always, people don't always have money themselves, but they have connections to
yes.
money. And that can be very useful.
Right.
But I know, you're the executive director. You can't be finding the time to take care of the kids and apply for grants, and you can't do it all. So you need an army of volunteers, of course.
Of course. We teach our students how to grow foods, because growing foods changes lives is their slogan. And it's made a difference there with our members. And
so do you have a garden?
We do.
No, that's
we
excellent.
do. It's small, but we have plans to make it bigger. And everything is big at Big Heroes. And so, it's just been incredible. The belief that they've had in what we're doing is changing the way the world sees individuals with disabilities.
I was thinking about how society used to take kids like these and just keep them in the back room.
Right.
They were the family secret. And you didn't see them outside the house much.
Right.
And I love the fact that we have at least grown enough as a society to bring them into schools, to mainstream them as we can.
Right.
Very healthy for them. And like I said, there are cases where individuals have great gifts and it can't be discovered in the confines of their house with the narrowed perceptions of the people sometimes raising them. They don't know what their potential is. And so you get them out into, just regular fourth grade, and they blossom.
Right, they sure do.
And then sometimes, as you know, sometimes they need specialized care, but at least they're socialized with their friends and buddies, and they live a similar life, and they find great deep friendships, just like the rest of us.
Correct.
So and I also love that as a society that we invested, because I've lived in other countries, and there's no accommodation. So as we can have what complaints we can, but we've done a fairly decent job as a modern culture of adapting sidewalks and doing what we can. I know that you can always do more,
right?
But at least we've made a great strides in that direction,
right?
Of making it possible for people for these students to move around comfortably.
And I'll tell you, you're exactly right, because we do, at the center, aside from what we're teaching now, we're hoping to bring in a communications teacher, which would involve reading and, the speech and being able to partake in public speaking or even in a great interview. So we do have Oscar's counterpart, which is Orlando. He says, please teach me to read. I want to learn how to read because I want to become a coach. I want to go on to college and become a coach. So we are looking for that one organization that needs maybe, an assistant coach or somebody out there that's willing to give him the opportunity to go out there and shine, because he loves soccer. This young man has written to LeBron James, and the foundation wrote back, and we have a small cross there at the center waiting for LeBron James to come pick it up. But I'll tell you, and just listening to Orlando speak sometimes, his faith also has made me, just see things differently. He talks about the way that we acknowledge the good Lord, just like all these other famous athletes do. You see C.J. Stroud, talking about him. Dak Prescott acknowledging, so much. He's written to the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, and they wrote back as well, and they sent him a little bit of fan, goodies and stuff like that.
Tell him to pray for the Cowboys. Evidently, he hasn't in. So
maybe we'll get him out
here. This is our year, So
we're praying. No, and it's a good thing. And so if we go back to Orlando, his faith is great, and we're trying to do what we can. So as we grow, we bring in an additional teacher to kind of, offset. So they rotate from class to class, and it's really neat to see. But at the end of the day is probably their best time, that they go all out and they do what we call get moving. And so since we participate in Special Olympics, you'll see them racing, and at the end they kind of point to,
like Dak Prescott.
There you go.
Or C.J. Stroud, right?
Patrick Mahomes, all the great ones are out there. But we worry about, injury, because if they don't have that exercise going, then, they do slow down, and we might have an injury when they're out there competing in track and field because of the age, just like me with my with my little injury here. we need to keep ourselves fit. And so that is a component of what we're doing as well.
Well, that's a lot to do. And in the day you do the cooking and laundry
so little time.
And gardening and athletics. You do that all in a day?
We do. So we rotate. Our classes are about 30 to 40 minutes long. And so they get a little bit of everything. But we are trying to implement a little bit of an interest inventory. And so we might be spreading it out, kind of like the schools are doing. Where they are going to sign up for the classes that they like the most. And I know everybody's going to gravitate towards kitchen. We love to eat. Yeah.
And then who supplies? Does HEB supply your food for
They
cooking?
do. They do.
Or some?
And if not, we do take it from whatever we get through fundraising. Yeah, but mostly HEB is the one that hears our biggest wishes or wish list.
Do you get any help from like United Way?
No, we don't. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't. We haven't signed up. At the beginning, we didn't qualify because we were lacking some of the expectations that they have on their list. But we're hoping to get on there. And
But you're a 501c3.
we are.
So you're truly a nonprofit, registered as such, tax deductible.
Correct.
For givers.
Yeah, we're state approved. Yeah, definitely. And whenever anybody asks us for our 501c3, we have it available. But I think that there were requirements, and we didn't have enough monies to get D&O liability, and but we do now.
And you can donate right on the website.
Correct.
Right? Okay, so I learned a lot about your organization. Very impressive website.
Awesome. Thank you.
User-friendly and provides the story, which is very important, highly credible. What is the website?
www.bigherotx.org.
Okay, one more time.
www.bigherotx for Texas.org.
.org, good. So all that anyone has to do is go to that website, and they can donate right there.
Correct. You can go through Facebook as well. And there are links that you can access directly, and it takes you to our website.
And the Facebook page is great because you get to see what's happening this week.
Current events. That's right.
Pictures and all that. So you get a kind of feeling of the life of the organization day to day. It's not as good as coming to visit you.
Right.
So if someone wants to come and just sit and watch what's going on or get a tour, how do they do that?
They can call myself at 956-455-3129.
Okay.
Or they can email blessings@bigherotx.org. Or they can contact Angela. And I'm not going to share her phone number because I don't know if she's going to like that very much. She has become a new grandma. And so she's out there visiting her daughter today.
The email again? That's a good email.
Blessings@bigherotx.org.
Yeah, great email. So that was your idea?
Our student members are blessings to us, and that's where the blessings
Well,
come
I see in talking to you that you over and over again point out how much you've learned from them, how much they've changed you.
Yes, they have.
They remind you of the power of prayer as a mechanism for getting what your heart desires.
And I've always been very faithful, and I believe in the good Lord, and that I can do so much more through Him. Philippians 4:13.
And the students themselves bring you back to that focus.
They do. They recenter me, and it's just wonderful to see. And that's my big little secret. We act in the natural, and our God acts in the supernatural. And who would have thought that we would get a building?
That is awesome.
I threw it out there, and some of the followers heard about it, and the family had been talking about it, and this building had been abandoned for 2 years, and they called me December 2021. It was just after Christmas, and they said, "We have a gift for you." And I thought, "Oh, okay, they're going to give me a donation," because I do real estate, and I was their realtor, and they said, "Can you meet us here?" And I said yes, and they said, "Here it is." And I nearly fell to the ground, when I just, even though they were telling me, "Here it is," and I'm like, "Well, what is it?" And this is for you. If you'll accept the gift, we'd like to give it to you. And so the world changed for Big Heroes. We were able to open the doors to, 15, 20 more members because we didn't fit at the little place where we were at.
What did you have to do to get it in shape for your use?
We tore down a few walls because little critters kind of find their way.
Of course,
the wood-destroying insects, and we had to replace walls. We had to set up some walls to divide them into the classrooms, and paint and plaster, and we called in all of our help, and
So you had some volunteers help with this?
We did. We had volunteers. Some of it had to be paid for. Sure. And of course, we had to buy material, but the Home Depots, the McCoys, and, they all kind of also gave us good discounts here and there, and they gave us cans of paint and gallons of paint, where it was needed. And right now we're looking at a pretty spiffy little building,
That's awesome.
That's the inside, and that's where our students are. So we'll work on the outside later. There is some work to be done, and our latest addition was a blue roof. We want God to see our blue roof from or anybody that's driving by. Where's the building? It's the one with the blue roof, And blue is symbolic of a lot of the disability world, but I don't believe in symbolizing an individual with color. And I think that the more we talk about colors, it creates division. And so I want to go back to the red heart, love, this is where we're at. And, we did use it to kind of help identify where we're at, along Dockberry, but it's a neat little place. We invite you to come over. We want you to come over, and anybody that's listening in today, come and see us. December is going to be on and off because we do take a little break to recharge our batteries. And then we come back boots on the ground ready for January.
Great. Thank you for coming in. It's been so delightful to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And, to see you get misty-eyed over over your love for what you're doing.
I love what I do.
And it's not everybody has a great passion for what they do, and you clearly do. So thanks for coming in. I hope that we can, through this program, inspire people to help with your projects.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Open their hearts and their wallets.
Definitely. Yes. No, and we are welcome to that too. So thank you again, Dr. Strong and Mr. Gabriel. I don't know a whole lot of people because I was teaching in a classroom for about 16 years. So as I came into the nonprofit world, I've met so many wonderful people, and you both included. So thank you.
Thanks for watching this BSPA video. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you like what you see. And if you really like what you see, go ahead and go to our website, brosoperformingarts.org, and smash the donate button. And then we'll really like you too.